There are some days you remember because something exciting happened, and then there are days you remember because everything changed. This is one of those days. The morning didn't look like Louisiana, not the Louisiana I grew up with. The sky was gray, the wind pushed through the trees, the air felt heavy, almost like the world already knew what we were about to do. The house was full, family everywhere, people moving from room to room, some getting dressed, some talking quietly, some trying to keep themselves together. Nobody had to explain why we were there. We all knew. A few days earlier, we had received the news that my grandmother had passed away. For days, grief came in waves. Sometimes I cried, sometimes I sat in silence, sometimes it didn't feel real, and sometimes it felt too real. That morning, I wasn't sure what I felt. I was sad, nervous, confused, stoic, melancholy, powerless, but somehow determined at the same time. One of my cousins didn't have his clothes yet. We were waiting for our aunt to arrive. The minutes kept passing. Everything felt delayed, but grief doesn't care about schedules. By the time she arrived, the rain had come. The kind of rain that makes windshield wipers work overtime. The kind of rain that turns roads dark. The kind of rain that follows you. We quickly got dressed and climbed into the vehicle. As we drove through the rain, my cousin sat beside me getting ready. Outside the window, Louisiana passed by. Inside the vehicle, everyone was lost in their own thoughts. Looking back, I don't think anybody knew exactly what to say. What words are there for a day like this? A few nights earlier, some of us had talked about another funeral, another day we had served as pallbearers. We remembered how surprisingly heavy a casket can be, even with multiple people carrying it. At the time, we laughed about it, but underneath the laughter was concern. We wanted to be ready, not because we were worried about ourselves, because we were worried about her. We wanted to carry her with dignity, with pride, with respect. The closer we got to the service, the more my mind drifted. I wasn't thinking about work, thinking about money. I wasn't thinking about tomorrow. I was thinking about one thing, the responsibility waiting for us. By the time we arrived, we were late. The service had been waiting for us. My adrenaline was pumping so hard that everything felt blurry. Things registered, but they didn't fully register. It's difficult to explain. You see what's happening. You understand what's happening. But part of your mind still hasn't caught up. I had already spent days grieving, days crying, days processing. So when I finally walked into the service, I held up better than I expected. There was one moment when my cousin Buffy spoke, a moment that nearly broke me. I felt the tears trying to come. I felt my voice catching in my throat, but somehow I held it together. Then came the walk. Because of the weather, there had been discussion about whether we would actually carry her. The rain had made everything dangerous. The ground was soaked. The mud was deep. The walkways were slippery. For a while, it seemed like the pallbearers might not be needed. But somehow things changed, and before long, we were walking toward the hearse. That's when everything became real, not emotionally, physically. We all knew what we were there to do. The rain was falling, the ground was slick, and every one of us understood the assignment. Get her there safely, get her there with dignity, get her there with pride, and whatever happens, don't drop her. When I finally reached for the handle, something changed inside me. I wasn't thinking about myself anymore. I wasn't thinking about grief. I wasn't thinking about fear. The thought that entered my mind was simple. I got you. That's what it felt like. I got you. And then another realization followed. I'm an adult now. The people who carried me through childhood couldn't carry everything forever. One day, somebody has to step forward. One day, somebody has to pick up the torch. And on that rainy Louisiana afternoon, it was our turn. None of the children were carrying her. None of the younger generations were carrying her. It was us, the grandchildren, the first cousins, the next generation. Nat walked with us. The rest of us carried, and together we moved forward. When I finally saw the grave, my heart sank. Even though I knew why we were there, even though I knew this moment was coming, seeing it was different. Reality has a way of becoming heavier when it's right in front of you. I remember looking around, looking at the rain, looking at the mud, looking at the people standing beside me, and thinking, I can't believe this is really happening. but it was. So we kept moving, step by step, careful, focused, intentional. The casket was heavy, the ground was unforgiving, the rain wasn't helping, but nobody quit. Nobody complained. Nobody walked away. We carried her together, the same way family is supposed to carry one another, together. Eventually we reached the grave. Slowly and carefully we lowered her into place, and then something happened that I wasn't expecting. The work was finished. For days there had been preparation, phone calls, travel, planning, tears, stress, waiting. Then suddenly it was done. The responsibility we had been carrying was complete. One by one, people stepped away. The rain was still falling, the mud was still there, the flowers were still there, but now she was resting. I remember looking back, trying to take it all in, trying to understand how a lifetime could lead to a single moment. And then I looked around at everybody who had shown up, my cousins, my family, the people standing beside me, and I realized something. The story wasn't ending there, because she had left something behind. Not money, not possessions, people, generations, relationships, memories, a family. That's why the final photographs matter so much to me. Not because they are perfect, not because everybody was smiling, but because they captured something important. Proof that we showed up, proof that we carried the torch, proof that when the moment came, nobody ran from the responsibility. We were there, together, and standing there with my cousins after everything was over, I felt proud, not happy, not relieved, proud. Proud of the way we carried her, proud of the way we represented our family, proud of the way we honored our grandmother. The rain eventually stopped, the day eventually ended, and life eventually moved forward. But every now and then I look back at these photographs, these still frames, and I remember that rainy day in Louisiana, the day we carried her home, the day we carried the torch.